Hey everyone, LeNora Faye here with Childfree Blog. Welcome to Boobies Not Babies, episode 5. We're going to go live with Breanna Chrystal. So Breanna, if you're out there, wave to me and I can get you on or get you off. You're not going to have seen that yet. Okay, we're off to a great start. Happy Thursday, everybody. Cooperate. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome. Did you hear my joke? Did you hear my joke?
Something about you getting me off?
Yes, okay, you did. I was like, we're gonna get Breanna on. And I'm like, wait a second, that sounds incorrect.
Let me adjust this I really need my tripod.
I can't. Yeah, tripods are great. Okay. Hey everybody. Grannies for no pressure on kids to procreate. Yes. Is that a comment or is that a tagline? Can you add taglines to this?
You can pin comments. I don't know about adding taglines.
Oh, okay. Great. Well,
somebody decided they wanted to be on screen today, so I already have one with me.
I forget pets' names, so please introduce your...
Sorry. This is Miso.
Miso. Miso.
This is my nephew. It's my brother's dog. Okay, Raging Grannies is already coming in with some hot comments. Grannies for no pressure on kids to procreate. We support you. I am feeling the granny love right now. Thank you so much.
You know what? Because I've seen this account and it didn't even dawn on me. So thank you for your support. I love that, Raging Grannies.
Okay, I'm going to fix this here because my head's getting like cut off.
This is such a great, I can't even find the words. Grannies for no pressure on kids to procreate. Like, we cannot tell you how much we need more of this. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
Again,
for
you
sure.
want to have children, great. But great. And, you know, supporting those that choose to not have children, including maybe your own family members. I love it. I mean, I also love your eyeshadow. We have to comment on the looks too. I mean, we've started the show. This is kind of like our weird, wacky intro. We just comment on everything. So I love the eyeshadow, love the hair. I just adore you and your look. So
thank you.
I'll just put that out there.
Be on the lookout for like one or both of these to like migrate downwards because they never ever stay. But it's really windy outside here, so it felt like a space fun day. Okay. I'm like, I'm just gonna put on a little face for the camera because
I think it's great. I've got the new specs going, and you can see my ring lights.
You can. Okay, hot tip for anybody that has a ring light: if you get like a really fine, translucent cloth, like a cotton cloth or something, you can drape it over your ring light, so you won't get that reflection, but you're still gonna get all the light shining through.
Thank you. I have cheesecloth. Does that count?
Cheesecloth will help cut down on it too. Yeah. I took a whole course on like creating inclusive content, and she dove into some like tips and tricks with lighting, and her whole course is designed to be able to like do everything from your phone. So it makes it super user friendly. And that was one of the things that was in there. You know, because so many people do get the LED lighting and it's really great, you know, for your skin and everything, but then sometimes you get that little reflection there for sure.
So I think this is the last time that I'll have this set up because, as I told you, I ordered a tripod with a ring light. It's going to be like 6 feet tall. It may be a new lover. I do not know, but I'm thinking because, you know, I have my sexy mic already. But anyway, I know. That just so bad. If you're not familiar with my humor or our humor, you'll get used to it. Yeah, exactly. So it'll be a completely different setup next week. And the phone will be in the ring light, so I think that should take away some of it. We'll see. I've decided to invest in this whole setup because I've been rocking this setup for 2 years, and like I can upgrade now. I started with nothing, so you know I had no mic, no good computer, nothing. So
it's time.
Exactly.
It's time.
So welcome to episode 5. I said that I have to fill while we're getting you up. So I
can't believe we're here already. Episode 5.
How was this 5 weeks we started doing this?
Jeez.
So of course I'm LeNora Faye and
I'm Breanna. If you guys don't know either of us, LeNora is an awesome child-free lifestyle advocate. She's a speaker, she's a moderator. She is one of the co-founding non-mothers of the Childfree Girls podcast. She's also co-founded the Childfree Convention. That's going to be coming up this summer. I'm so sorry. He's starting already.
Well, it makes you sound like you're apologizing for the convention. So no, you're apologizing.
No, I'm apologizing for the dog park. And if you don't know me, I am just your child-free girl next door. So, hey, welcome.
I love that. Just don't say just. I'm your child-free best friend, I think, is like really appropriate for you.
I'm the child-free bestie. I'll have to check and see if that handle's taken. Maybe I need a new Instagram.
Well, you know what? Because if you want to keep yours private, like your personal one personal, and then you have a child-free one or whatever. Depends on what you know, it's amazing. Like talking about branding and stuff, it's amazing how a person rebrands, you know, over time, because you start out doing one thing and then it morphs into something else. I'm not rebranding child-free. I said, like, that's happened. No, it's the same content, just different names. Anyway, did we get any questions? I didn't get any questions on my end for this live, but I know
you already know the question that I got from us. So, I mean, just so that we can't say there was no boobies.
Yeah, there we go. Hello.
We're gonna get banned.
Hey, they're covered.
They are covered. It's just lines. It's just angles. That's all it is.
Exactly. Get over it. I'd stand up, but I'd knock this whole thing over, so I'm not going to.
Oh, I'm on a rolly chair, so I could just like roll away. But I did actually want to touch on a conversation that I had earlier with an influencer that I follow, and she had done an Ask Me Anything. I'm sure you're familiar with people doing those on their Instagrams. You know, part of the reason that some people do it is just to get their engagement up, which is totally cool, but you're also like interacting with your community as well.
Yeah.
And so somebody had asked, they asked this influencer, they didn't ask me, but they said, do you or will you ever have children? And if so, can we meet them or something like that?
Can we meet them? Okay.
Right?
All right.
Okay. And, you know, so she went on and if you've been following this particular person for a while, like you would know that she doesn't have kids. Her and her husband don't have kids. But but anyway, you know, she just said like, no, we don't have children. You know, we feel kind of selfish, like we don't want to be parents, and also like we have some medical things going on that probably wouldn't make it like the greatest decision for us to have kids.
Right.
And you know, if it's somebody that's got like thousands and thousands and thousands of followers, I may not necessarily reach out to them, but I have reached out to this particular person before, so I felt comfortable. And I just sent her a message, a reply to that story, and said, hey, you know, thank you for sharing your answer. I'm just going to paraphrase, but basically, thank you for sharing your answer. You know, I find it incredibly invasive when people ask this question. I realize that you didn't ask me anything, and so in doing so, you're going to get, you know, invasive questions. But I said it's just interesting how people use children as conversational currency, and they don't really know like what the bigger story is behind it. And if they're going to inflict pain simply by asking that question. And she messaged me back right away, and she was like, absolutely. We can't have kids actually because of my husband's cancer treatment. So every time somebody asks him, it's a reminder that he has lost the ability to have children because of his cancer treatments. And I was like, thank you. Like that right there is like just totally innocent interaction.
Yep.
Reiterates that point that like that question is so common, but should it be? And like, why is it that children make people feel comfortable in conversations? Like, why can't we ask each other about how's your business going? Or, you know, how's that latest project going, as a way to break the ice and have conversation?
Yeah.
Everybody has to turn to kids. So if you're watching this right now, like drop some comments on what some of your conversational starters are. Cause I'm assuming if you're here hanging with us that you probably don't have kids. If you do have kids, I would love to still know about other topics that you wish people would ask you instead of just coming to you and asking about your kids. Like, what are some things that you wish people would ask you about? Like right now, I'm a little distracted because this dog wants to play fetch. Like, people could ask me about the dog.
Do you remember, this was, I don't know, years ago, 2015, 2016. I don't know if you watched the Oscars red carpet, but I do. And they were doing this Ask Her More campaign because they were tired of people just asking, like the reporters just asking the women, who are you wearing? Because they were focusing on the designers. I don't remember the year specifically, but they had this Ask Her More campaign. So I feel like this topic of, oh, how many kids do you have? Because there's two questions. If someone meets you for the first time, oh, what do you do? Or do you have kids? My answer is, well, I'm a Childfree Lifestyle Advocate. So that already answers that leads to more questions. So I don't mind it when people ask me that because I have something to plug. But it's those questions, right? We actually missed a comment because I didn't see these happening. Sorry, I have to scroll back up. Raging Grannies, if you're still on. Sorry, I missed your original question. They said, we are in San Francisco. Where are you? I'm in Western Canada. I live in the province of Alberta. And Breanna lives somewhere else.
Yeah, I am in Arizona, so in the southwestern corner of the United States.
So yeah, I'm in the, I said Western Canada, good enough. Okay. I was like, I just repeating myself. Okay, so questions, comments.
Yeah, you're in charge of them because I can't see them.
Power. Yeah. Childfree Woman says they should focus on bad parents instead of childfree people, but they're not ready for that conversation. I mean, it is a bit of a heavy topic. If an acquaintance or a stranger or even family members are interacting with you and you're asking about kids, that would be great, but that's kind of a hard one to start into. Emma says my go-to is pets, so starting the conversation about pets. Again, I'm a pet-free person, so we can talk about it. Emma and I can talk about glasses. We talked about glasses yesterday. Chanel, I'd rather be reading 2000 says, what do you love to do? See, I love that question because it's like, we all love to do something. Yeah. Or someone. But, hey, we have to,
we got to just poke that humor right in there.
Exactly. We need that. This week has been really, really serious with conversations, which has been great. But I'm like, now the week is coming to a close. I'm like, all right, let's be a little bit, but what do you love to do? I mean, this is just speculation as a non-parent, but given the interactions I've had with parents, friends who are parents, they spend most of their conversation talking about their kids. I can imagine it wouldn't be nice if someone came to you and asked you something other than what you spend all your time doing, like meaning raising kids. Like, talk about you for a second. What do you like to do? Although that could be scary. Because, it's like when you're in between careers, you're like, well, what do you do? And I'm like, nothing right now.
Nothing right now. Hey, I'm there too.
Yeah. I can't say that anymore, but there was a time, several times throughout my life that I have said, I'm like, well, I don't do anything at the moment. So I get it, but I love that question of what do you like to do instead of how many kids do you have? Okay, Adventure for Breakfast says, another question they can lead with is, what are your favorite things to do on the weekend? Again, another great question. Like, let's talk about our personal lives or something fun because that's inspiring. Okay.
Oh, Emma.
Do we need to get you on Tinder or Bumble, LeNora? No, you don't, because I'm in public spaces online. You can find me there. Go to LeNoraFaye.com and you can hit on me there. Like, seriously. I don't need to go on dating sites. Raging Granny says your worth is not in your job. Yes.
That is very true. It's so true. And I think a lot of us get lost in that. We try to kind of combine those identities, like the work that we do with the people that we are. And in some cases they do combine, and that's great. But, being able to see that distinction there is really important. I think for me too, like going into this year with not working and having to give my body rest and realizing like, okay, the pet portion of things is not in my life anymore, other than the pets that I have at home. I really had to dig deep and unravel all of that because it was all intertwined. A lot of my self-worth was intertwined with the work that I was getting up and doing and the service that I was providing on a daily basis. So thankfully, you know, our lovely little child-free community that you have worked so hard to build, that's really helped too. Like so much support. Oh my gosh, you guys, so much support from the community this week, you know, just for little things that we talked about. And that made such a huge difference. But Raging Grannies is like spot on. I don't know who you are, Raging Granny, but you have my heart already.
Okay, so Raging Grannies, do you want to plug, because we know that you're in San Francisco, so are you a group? Do you want to just plug your stuff in chat so we know who you are? Because we really do appreciate the support. And, you know, anybody that's an ally or a child-free content creator or child-free supporter, child-free person, which is most of us on this live, please, like, don't be afraid to say who you are and if there's something you want to promote that's, like, beneficial to whatever. But like, I'm not going to have grandkids, but I still want to be a raging granny, like, in title.
You could be a raging, like, grand aunt.
Yeah, raging grand aunt. But raging, it just has such a great ring. I love it.
It
does. Okay, so Raging Granny says, we are an international organization started in Victoria, BC. Yay, BC. 35 years ago. Wow. Okay, I need to go check this out because this is awesome.
Right? Take note, take a screenshot, do something, visit Raging Grannies.
I mean, it's wonderful. And I, again, love that you're supporting the child-free conversation and child-free people, because that is, people think that there should be a divide between parents and people who don't have kids. And again, we already talked about being child-free and childless lumped in together, different experiences, but parents versus people who don't have kids, no, we can all work together. So, okay, Grannies is about having the granny attitude. I just love it. Childfree Woman asks, have you guys ever received support from parents outside of Instagram? I'll answer that in a second. I was going to call you Isabel.
That's okay. We both have brown hair.
I'm getting used to, because normally when I'm talking to someone, it's Kristen or Isabel face to face. So I'm getting used to,
sure.
Like, your voice is Breanna. We're still getting used to seeing each other. Go ahead. Save the world for future generations. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
I have received support outside of Instagram, mainly from like personal people that I have in my life. It's funny, one of my best friends, you know, she will tell me, like, I love my kid, but I don't love everybody else's kid, and I don't want any more kids. She actually just got approved to have a hysterectomy. So she was really excited about that because she does not want more children. She has her one. She's good with him. You know, so she's kind of taking it into her own hands to make sure that that doesn't happen in the future. And she'll flat out say, like, I would not be able to go through all of this again. So I think it's really important for her to recognize that, but also, you know, she completely understands my perspective too. I think, I mean, I can't put words in her mouth and I can't say she would ever like take back having her son, but I think if that wasn't in the cards for her, she probably would be on the same path too. Which is, again, is why she's taking the steps to make sure that she doesn't have more children in the future. You know, it's funny, my parents personally, they are still, I don't think that they fully accepted it. I think maybe they will once I actually like have my procedure done and it's set in stone. I think they're secretly still hoping for like a miracle to happen.
Even though you're with someone that can't have children.
They know that he can't have children, and my mom will still say, you never know. I'm like, okay, well, he's 40 years old and no kids have showed up knocking on his door, so I think we're okay. But yeah, I'll throw that question back to you.
So in my personal life, yes, lots of support. My dad is very supportive of me he was the first person I ever told when I was 22 that I didn't want to have kids. It was an epiphany, and he happened to be around, and I was like, I realized I don't have to have children. And he's like, yeah, you don't have to. My brother's supportive. My brother's 2 children are supportive. You know, like I show them what I do. They see the Childfree Convention merchandise around the house. You know, it's great. Friends, family. I mean, there's the distant relatives that still don't get it, even though I've started posting a lot of what I do on my personal Facebook page. As far as so I'm co-host of the Childfree Girls podcast and web series. We've been doing that since 2019. And we've had parents on the show. We've had that conversation. parents versus child free. We had a coach, a life coach on our show who we didn't bring her. We brought her on because she had said some really controversial things. And then we ended up talking about motherhood, and we asked her, you know, did that fill a void? And she's like, no. So we've received, we, meaning Childfree Girls, has received, you know, supportive emails from parents. Of course, we received the opposite sometimes too. But I mean, even, yeah, just like within the work, and I network with other organizations that deal with, you know, smaller family, like family planning, smaller families, promoting people having less children. And they are supportive of the child-free conversation, because right now, where I'm at right now in what I'm doing is to network with organizations outside of the child-free community. Like, okay, and Raging Grannies is actually a great example, because we asked, what is the organization about? And they replied, save the world for future generations, talking about environmental peace, social justice, abortion rights. So yes, I mean, I think this is really important, and I recognize there's a lot of child-free spaces that don't want to talk about how bringing people with children or who want to have children into the conversation is actually necessary, because smash the patriarchy, yes, because, and yeah, Childfree Woman says, makes a good point. Some Childfree pages shame mothers. They're, oh, okay. Well, everyone sees this comment. There is this Childfree page called Mother Whores for Having Children. Oh, page, sorry. Who calls? I read that wrong. I'm like, that's the page name? No, there is a Childfree page, the page called Mother's Whores for Having Children. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, see that, honestly, especially in a professional setting, but personally, it's not necessary, because look, people are still going to have kids. And who better than,
give me a second.
Okay, I'll talk to you. I'll continue talking. So who better to help foster the child-free choice conversation than people who have children, who can teach their own children that, hey, you have a choice. You don't have to have kids. That's my personal point of view on that. So I feel that people who don't have kids and people with kids can work together when it's appropriate, or if you feel that, like, you know, it's something you want to do, to help further the cause of choosing to have, choosing whether or not you want to have kids and supporting that choice. So
yeah, absolutely. I mean, for me, it's, if I want people to respect my choice to not have children, I have to give people respect for their choices. And for me, I know.
On your cute dog.
For me, that's what it boils down to, is like mutual respect.
Yeah.
My opinions are just that, my opinions. Not everybody in the world needs to hear my opinion. I see so many things on social media that I disagree with, and I have perfected the art of scrolling past it. Like, you can actually scroll past it without having to comment.
Yes. Who knew?
So, you know, it's like, that kind of stuff makes me sad, because it's like, why does that person who runs that page, like, what hurt are they holding on to that made them actually want to go and do that? You know, is there some sort of pain that they haven't dealt with, that this is how it's coming out? Like, there's just, I don't know. It makes me sad for that person.
So
for sure.
We have some more comments. Adventure for Breakfast. I love that name. It's all about autonomy and respect for individual choice. Lark Poetry, also a great name. I mean, there's so many great user names on. I love it. This is an important distinction. It's not X versus Y. It's about allowing individuals to make the decisions best for them. I love that. Best for them. Yes. Not pressuring them into someone else's ideals.
Exactly.
I mean, if you think about it, anyone watching this, whether you have kids or not, do you think, if you knew from a young age that you did, you know, you had a choice, and maybe you did, I didn't, but if you knew that you had a choice, and you think about how much time and energy it would possibly have saved you from thinking, okay, I need to accomplish all these things before this age, because I'm going to become a parent, and then I have to find someone to become a parent with. Like, all of these things, to me, I already was trying to map out my entire future based on what was the expectations that were handed to me. That takes a lot of energy. And then when you're 16 to 39. It's like there's a lot going on, and you're like, who am I? What do I want to do? And what I want to do last year is not what I want to do this year, you know?
Yeah.
Like there's so many things. And okay, we have all right, I keep reading here. There's a lot of mom shaming going on, but no one bats an eye at it. Yeah, I mean that's true. It's I guess that's a question. How do Childfree people call out other Childfree people for doing that?
Well, and I mean, you have moms that shame other moms too. So
yeah, well, that's what I was gonna say. It's not strictly Childfree people. It's the people that are trying to elevate mom status are also shaming people. Like, I don't get it. Happy people are not vicious. Yes, I mean, if there's one thing that a Childfree person or anybody for that matter can remember, it's like happy people are not vicious to people. So if someone's vicious to you, you can at least take comfort that that person's not happy.
I mean,
I don't know
in
if
the
that's
words,
take comfort, but you know, it's not it's not like it's the whole Schadenfreude thing where it's like you're
Schadenfreude, yeah,
whatever, yeah.
Oh,
so,
and I'm over here thinking of Reese Witherspoon, like she said it, but Elle Woods said it best, like happy people don't kill people, they just don't.
I want to go watch that movie again. That's so good. There's Childfree people who shame other Childfree people. Yes,
it's all over the place. Over the place.
Yes, because either they're not living up to what they think a Childfree person should be, or they're like, why are you talking about being child-free? I almost get more flack from Childfree people for doing what I do, which is like podcasting, hosting shows, Childfree Convention, which is amazing. Come on, like it's great. But I get shamed, not very often, but more often than not from other Childfree people who think what I do is a waste of time. Well, then don't show up. There's enough people that do. But yeah, it's crazy. Okay, Emma has a question. Have you ever felt sad that your friend who was child-free all of a sudden has a child? Yes. Breanna was my best friend until 2 days ago. I'm kidding. We were acquaintances. No. Thank you for laughing at that.
I mean, I'm just jealous. I wish she was my bestie. You know, honestly, Emma, I can't say that I've had any other friends that have declared themselves as child-free. So to say that I've had a friend who was child-free and then decided to have a child, like I have not had that lived experience. I am the only one of my friends that has outright said, I do not want to have children. I'm not going to have children. That being said, like when a friend gets pregnant or has gotten pregnant in the past, it doesn't make me sad for them necessarily. I think what it does is it makes me sad knowing that the friendship dynamic is going to change because they're going to have these different priorities in their life, which they should. I know it's going to be harder to, I mean, we're still in the pandemic, so it's not like I'm just running around hanging out with people all the time. But in the past, you know, it makes it harder to have a girls' night out. It makes it harder to have a movie night in. It makes it harder to go out to dinner. You know, are you going to make plans that's going to include their child? Are you going to, you know, ask them to get a babysitter? And then, you know, there's a lot of planning that goes into it once that friendship dynamic changes. So I think for me, that's more than anything what I get sad about is just knowing that that dynamic is going to change. But I mean, if that's what they want to do, all I can do is support them. And I've thrown baby showers for people. Like, I don't mind doing that. If I truly love the person as a friend, I just have to kind of recognize that things are going to change a little bit and process it and move on.
And Emma says, thank you for coming. Oh, sorry, Emma doesn't say this, but thank you for coming Adventures for breakfast. Who has to leave? Emma says, I feel like I have to mourn the friendship loss. Yeah, you know what? Or it was like, yeah, absolutely, agree with you. You know, I've had friends that have done that, but for some reason, the ones that have affected me the most was when my brother had his first kid at 19. And it wasn't that he explicitly said, I'm never going to have kids. He was flipping 19 and we were going to travel. You know, our mom had just died. And like, it was a lot going on. And our relationship changed, not for the worse. It's, you know, we're very solid now. We remained solid, but it was different because my brother was, you know, graduated and it was like, okay, we can travel, we can do some stuff because my brother and I are close. But once he found out he had gotten his girlfriend pregnant, it was like, I moved out of our apartment, and it was just like that was deep mourning. So I totally get it. And I've had cousins who've come to me and said, you know, because you're outspoken, I realize I don't have to have kids, which is great. And then 6 months later, one of them gets pregnant, and I'm like, okay. I mean, but honestly, the mourning part, it's I'm gonna say necessary. I think many people go through it. I know many people go through it because it's a common topic. It really is. Because yeah, it changes. It doesn't have to mean the friendship's over, but quite honestly, I am personally shocked about how little I see some of my closest friends whose kids are older. Like, they're in school full time, but they're in 1,000 activities after school, even with the pandemic, right? I never see them because I'm busy. They're busy. You know, I'm available like after 10:30 in the evening, but they're in bed. So it's like, you know, I mean, life, like I'm happy if I see now some of them every 3 years, quite honestly. But I think it also depends, because I have never been one to make plans with other people. I just go do things. I like to do things solo. So I recognize that it is different if you are like, say you have a close-knit group, or you're like, you have someone who is actually your travel partner and then they have kids. Like, that is another level, I think, because that really does change your plans.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes I wonder if it was a defense mechanism for myself. By not making plans with people, I just go do things, because then there's never that disappointment. So there's a possibility there. But quite honestly, I don't get energy from traveling with people. So, you know, I don't necessarily want to make plans with too many people. Raging Grannies, thank you for stopping by. They say follow us for abortion rights info. Also good, based out of the US. That's good. I'm really glad that there are, you know, that's important.
Excuse you, sir. I am so sorry. This is like God to him, and he keeps leaving it at my feet. And because I'm not paying attention, he likes to remind me that it's still there. Okay, you can shame me for having pets. Bring it on.
I'm not going to shame you for having pets. You know what?
It's
I'll
fine.
just hold my tongue.
That one's not mine anyway. Mine are quiet for the most part.
Right. Okay. It's like saying my kids are the well-behaved ones, but everyone else's sucks. So.
Okay, so Childfree Woman says, I read some posting how Breanna has always wanted to be a mom, and I'm happy for her. And I will tell you, my first thought was, she has the money, she has the resources, she has built her empire up. She never has to tour again if she doesn't want to. She never has to make music. Exactly. You know, because making music doesn't make them money. It's the touring that makes them money. It's the merchandise that makes them money. And then now she has her makeup line. She has her clothing line. Like,
oh,
if there was ever a person to have a child, she has everything at her hands, whether she needs help, whether she's just going to stay home. Like, so, you know, my personal opinion, do I love the fact that she's having a child? No, just because I don't want to have children. But if there was ever a person that I was like, heck yeah, you go girl, like, she's it, because she's set herself up. And if she wants to be, you know, in motherhood and enjoy motherhood, I'm about to stick my foot in my mouth right now because my cat just decided to show up right after I said that my animals are behaved.
Well, your cat's not misbehaving though. Showing up is not. Oh, never mind. I take that back. I'm used to it now. And quite honestly, I think people show up for your pets.
Maybe they do.
We thought they were going to show up for
back.
our boobs, but they show up for our pets because they actually see your. But again, if anyone's out there who's pet free, I am pet free. I am your ally. I've got you. Yeah, Lexi says spoke too soon. Okay, do you want to read Childfree Woman's questions?
Yeah. Childfree Woman just brings the good questions. Do you guys think dad shaming is a thing? I think dad shaming does exist. Take Kanye, for example. The internet is calling him crazy.
Nick Cannon?
Okay.
Nick
Kanye,
Cannon?
We can talk about Nick Cannon. Kanye, though, is his own thing. I think even before he had kids. I mean, you go as far back as like his whole Taylor Swift outburst. That speaks volumes to the kind of person that he is. And it's never changed since then. There's always something.
Yeah.
It's continued into fatherhood. I have never heard anybody say that he's a bad father, though. I have never heard any comments about him not being a good father. I think for him, it's more so just his personality and the things that he chooses to do. And maybe he needs, you know, some mental help. I don't know. I'm not in his shoes. I'm not in his life. But as far as dad shaming goes for Kanye, I wouldn't say like his actual parenthood, unless you've heard some resources in which, please share them with us. For me personally, I haven't heard anything necessarily about him being a dad, or being a bad dad, I should say. But dad shaming absolutely exists, 100%. I mean, even just the whole stereotype of like dad going golfing on the weekends because he has to relax while mom stays home and takes care of the kids. Like that could be considered a form of dad shaming right there. Not every dad is running off on the weekends. I'm sure there's some dads that are staying home, helping with laundry, helping with cooking, but because they're not broadcasting it because they're busy at home taking care of stuff, like they don't get the credit for it. Like you don't see that side. You don't see those dads because they're not showing it to the world. You know, they're just being dads and doing dad things.
I kind of think the bar for fatherhood is set low because I've seen this comment, I've heard people say this, that I don't even remember where I said this, but someone was pushing a stroller, a dad was pushing a stroller down the street, and someone said, "Oh, what a good dad." And he was like, "Well, I mean, like what?" Like, okay, if that's all it takes, you know. Yeah. And it's those people that comment the most that speak out against our show. They leave comments on YouTube like, "Oh, well, you're missing out. I'm a dad. The greatest thing about fatherhood is falling asleep in front of the TV with little Johnny on my chest." To them, that's fatherhood. Okay, great. Maybe I would have been a dad. I don't know. That's all it takes. I mean, seriously.
We'll get you on the right side of Tinder so you can be a dad.
The bar is set so low. I have a story about my brother I'll share in a minute. Lark Poetry says, "I dare say becoming a dad doesn't fundamentally change your identity in the public the way that becoming a mom does." And I would agree with that.
That would be a great question for your brother too, you know, because your brother's a single dad.
Yeah, I will bring that up because we've talked about that on the podcast, something similar to this. Lexi says single dads deal with the shaming, speaking from experience. Okay, right, because yeah, all right, Lexi, if you want to expand on that too, you go ahead. I'll just say, like, my brother has his 2 children full time, and he's a single parent, and he went off to Mexico for a week. First time ever leaving the country. His kids were fine. The mom was there, you know, even though the oldest was basically the one taking care of everything. But like everything was set. They had his number. He was gone for a week. He said nobody shamed him for going out of the country for a week. But his coworker, his female coworker, went out for one evening and said she was shamed hard by friends and family because she left her kid with a sitter. And I was like, are you serious? Like,
jeez.
You know, because I think in my brother's case, it was like, oh, there's the mom to take care of, not realizing that my brother's actually the primary parent, primary caregiver, which is very unusual. It's not usual, not common. But it's such a double standard. And you know, it's just like, oh, it's crazy. Lexi says, single fathers deal with discrimination from preying on children to calling it babysitting. Oh, from preying on children to calling it babysitting, meaning being a dad. Yeah, like, yeah. It's the weirdest standard. And the more I hear stories like this, I'm really glad that I didn't go down that route. Not because I couldn't withstand comments like that, but it's so stupid. I mean, yeah. If I had become a mother, no doubt I would be doing something what I'm doing now, which is advocating for mothers, because I'd be like, why are we dealing with this crap? You know?
Yeah. I mean, what happened to you? If you can't say something nice, don't say something, or don't say anything at all. Like that went out the window.
Or if you genuinely have a question or concern, take a minute to formulate your thoughts and approach the person. But to just outright shame, I think because people have gotten away with doing it for so long, they're just going to do it.
Well, and it's so much easier to do it now sitting behind a keyboard. Like, keyboard warriors are fierce. But I guarantee you, in person, they're not, they wouldn't say those same things at all.
Because, were you in the room when Cody from Childfree Family was talking about that troll that Childfree people get?
No, I missed that.
Oh, okay. So there is this troll named Ann Miller, and she goes by another alias, who's been trolling public Childfree pages on Facebook since 2020. We've banned her in so many different pages. And Cody was actually doing a back and forth dialogue trying to get her to come on video to talk. And I saw the screenshots, and she just went completely like, it was really strange. But anyway, she refused. And he was doing everything to say, look, you can bring someone with you. Like, this is not just private. Like, you can be public, whatever. Refused to come on. I mean, it was a great attempt on his part. But I mean, that's the thing. If you want people to like come and talk to you and say, look, why are you talking about keyboard warriors, trolls, whoever, they never show their face. We've had one, but he wasn't actually a troll. He genuinely wanted to have conversations with people. That was the Christian anti-abortionist that came on the podcast,
Ooh, I still haven't gotten to that episode. Like, I keep up with every new episode during the week, but then I also, when I have time, try to go back to before I knew about it, and I haven't done that episode yet.
Eat a brownie, drink some wine or something.
I'm gonna have to take breaks.
Yes. It's an exhausting 45 minutes. If you can make it through, we'll give you something for that. It's like it was hard to record that episode. I can't go back and watch it, like the whole thing, because I know how I felt. Actually, I was wearing this same dress. I remember what I wear for things. I was like, I was wearing this dress. This was before my wig days. And I remember I hold my anger in my neck.
Oh, yeah.
And my neck was getting really, really big. Like, my neck expands on that show because I'm so mad that I'm keeping it together for this show. So anyway.
Speaking of your wig, like, I'm getting total sexy librarian vibes from you today.
So this one is interesting because this is a smoky purple.
Yeah.
And my photo shoot that I did last week, I included this wig, and the hairstylist, she brought it to life. Like, she had it all waxed and everything, like with product. I need her to do like all 26 of my wigs because they're just amazing. So I put this on. Anyway, you can't really tell. Like, in the photos, it came out gray. I don't even know what color this looks like, but in person, it's a smoky purple.
It looks like a smoky purple to me. Like,
does it? Okay.
Yeah, a little bit of gray, a little bit of like purple, silver.
So I'm like, with the lighting and everything, I don't even know what this is translating to, but I really love it.
I'm outnumbered over here. I'm sorry. I've got one dog in my arms, one that wants to get up in my arms, and then the cat keeps coming over, and I'm like, are you guys kidding me?
I am so not interested in having pets. I wasn't before, but I'm just, I can't do it. Because, well, for me, I'd be like, you're not allowed. Like, I believe in boundaries. Like, I don't want,
I believe in boundaries too, but when you live in a house with other people, those boundaries go out the window. I have tried so hard to maintain certain boundaries, especially with food and treats, because I've got such an extensive background with pet nutrition, and I had to just finally give up on that because I was stressing myself out so much over what they were giving my animals. I'm like, you know what? Whatever. I'm done.
Oh, we have Lexi says it went out the window when Trump became president, which is not
saying anything at all.
Yeah. No, I don't do cosplay, Childfree Woman. I loved going to comic expos before the pandemic hit. I would wear wigs. I started wearing wigs like in grade 12. But no, I don't do cosplay. I've never found a cosplay character. It's just, I just love wigs. And then when I started wearing them for Childfree Girls, that just gave me like, okay, I need more. And now I've got like this walk-in closet. I will do one of these lives from my closet when I get the tripod and everything set up. Because it's fun. It's so fun.
I would love to do cosplay, but it's just like, I'm not.
So that timing was brilliant. And so the eyes and everything, I love it. Hey, Angela. That's so funny.
As you can tell, we are not professionals at what we're doing. I always have animals interrupting me. I apologize for it. They don't apologize for it. They love it.
This is Instagram Live. When we get our Netflix special, they will still walk in the studio.
They will. It's at that point, it's going to be part of the aesthetic. But exactly. No, I would love to cosplay. I just don't know enough about it. I'm sure if I ever asked my boyfriend to help, oh, now you're going to play with the mat. If I ever asked my boyfriend to help me, he would be ecstatic because he is very into video games and comic books and all that kind of stuff. I know he used to go to like Comic Cons when he lived in California. Actually, I told you, he decided to surprise me. We're getting really off topic now, but I'm very excited.
We need to talk about our personal lives now. We have 15 minutes left. Plus we have that new segment we're going to do. So we have to, that will work. Remember?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
Oh,
I don't remember. Sorry.
Who are we going to share? Remember that part? We're going to add that new segment. Yes. Okay.
Yes. Okay. I do want to say hi to Miss Dr. Angela. She has joined us. No Bibs, Burps, Bottles. If you don't follow her, she is definitely somebody that you should be following, especially if you love the child-free community. But even if you don't love the child-free community, she's just fantastic. But yeah, okay, my boyfriend, because we were talking about anime and cosplay, and that led me to my boyfriend. This has nothing to do with anime, but I'm going to my first drag show. Yay. He decided to surprise me, even though he already told me about it. But it's going to be for Valentine's Day, and we are normally not Valentine's Day people. We don't really make it a point to celebrate. I tell him to save the money on flowers and chocolate. We can get it the day after if you really feel so inclined. But this is something that, I had mentioned a long time ago, and he said that after I mentioned it, he started kind of like Googling what do guys wear to drag shows, like not people that are in the show, obviously, but just people that are going. And he said it just looked like so much fun that he wanted to go too.
Love it.
So yeah, so he booked us a room. Like he took care of everything. So I'm really excited to go do that. Absolutely.
I love drag shows. I feel a kindred to drag. I love it so much. So quick shout out. Okay. Lark Poetry says, for what it's worth, there are child-free Christians out there, but they're very, very shy. I write pro-child-free poetry from a Christian perspective. Follow me if you're interested or lonely. If I don't follow you already, I'm going to follow you because I'm agnostic, but I love different perspectives from child. I love different child-free perspectives. That's what I'm trying to say. And that's a much needed perspective that we don't hear a lot from. So love it. Thank you, Angela. Yeah, I am still technically the bitchy bookkeeper, but not really. That's like the merch thing, because that's the whole Instagram thing sucks. Oh, and Angela, I'm a child-free Christian. Okay, great. So there we go. Like there's so many different nuances to the child-free life. Mm-hmm. And it's great when people share their different points of view, because otherwise people just assume that they assume many things. Okay, so we've got 12 minutes left. So we are going to now introduce a new segment to our show that we just decided to do. And how are we going to phrase this?
I don't know. I'm not exactly sure. Like, I kind of remember that conversation, but I'm not exactly sure where you're going. So.
Well, no, because I just said we need, because we were talking about sharing a certain, like, famous people we would share. Who I have to look back to, what was her
Tom
name?
Hardy.
Tom Hardy,
we were gonna share Tom Hardy.
Right, okay, so I finally finished watching Lucifer, the TV show.
Oh, yay.
Right? So we were talking about all the Hollywood Toms and who we, like, this is Breanna and I were just talking about. Oh, you have to show your boobs. She likes your shirt. Okay. No, that's wrong direction. Okay.
I know.
All right.
It's like a 3/4 sleeve. I'm sorry, there's a dog in the way, but that's what it looks like. And then it's also, let me stand up quickly, see if you can see it. So it kind of takes like right underneath the bust and then it flares out.
Oh, I love it.
And this is from Torrid. I highly recommend.
We have Torrid in Canada.
Yeah, if you're not straight sized, Torrid is a fantastic place to find clothes that fit your shape. You just kind of have to play with the different shapes that they offer, and then find the materials that you like, because certain materials from them, I don't like the way that they feel on me, and I don't like how long they don't last. But there are certain materials I have found that work out really well.
Love it. And a great color.
Thank you.
Childfree Woman loves Lucifer. I am so curious because I am agnostic. But I was raised in a cult, so I found the conversation about like how that show progressed to, you know, the devil and his place in heaven and hell and all. I found that part super, super, super fascinating. So I believe, yeah, I agree that it was overlooked because it really excelled towards the end. And I'm curious about how people of faith would view a show like that, because okay, entertainment aside, and we'll get to the Tom part in a second, because actually that's where we're supposed to be heading with this conversation. But aside from the hotness factor and just the entertainment factor, there were actually a lot of really, really good points. I personally do not believe in heaven and hell. I believe it's in the mind. That is my personal opinion. And I should say, just how they navigated through that, it actually was a hopeful thing, because I don't like fear. I don't like the fear-based aspect of religion. And so when I can't really say what I want to say because I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but just like the second chance aspect of it, I found super fascinating. That is what I feel that people of faith or anyone who's struggling should needs to have that feeling. Like, it's not the end. When you go and you may not be in the place you want to be, it's not the end for you. I love that element of that, and I'm not really wanting to spoil it. But anyway, back to our conversation about Toms. Breanna and I were talking about Hollywood Toms, the hot Hollywood Toms, and we decided that we both love Tom Hardy. There's Tom Ellis, Tom Hardy, Tom Cruise, Tom Hanks, Tom...
No, Tom Cruise is off of that list, so okay. Tom Cruise does not get a seat at the table. Sorry.
Tom, who we're missing? Well, there's like a whole bunch of them.
Tom Holland.
Tom Holland, Spider-Man, Tom
Felton is one that we missed too.
I'm not
Draco Malfoy from Harry Potter.
Oh, right.
Yes.
Sure. Okay. So there's a bunch of Hollywood Toms. Bye, Lexi. So we decided that we're gonna we both agreed that Tom Hardy is kind of at the top of our list. Venom, Bane, hot dude. So then we decided to make the segment of celebrities that her and I would share, because she's like, Breanna's like, we can share him. And I didn't quite get what she meant. I was like, sure, I only need him part-time. And she's like, no, at the same time.
At the same time.
At the same time. So we decided to incorporate the segment every week of celebrities that we will share. There's no one gender in there involved either. So
no, and if you... Oh, go ahead.
This week's celebrity that we will share is Tom Hardy.
And if you have a Tom, throw up your Tom. Mm-hmm. We're a Tommy girl, because there are some Tommy girls. But if you have a Tom, throw up your Tom so we know who your Tom is. Tom Cruise lost his seat at the table when he got lost in Scientology. Yeah. I'm sorry if you can hear background noise. My cat was sitting on a box and scratching his ear and thumping.
I think that's going to be the title of this week's. The Tom that Breanna and LeNora will share. Now, what am I going to... I have to think of a title. Oh, yeah, Tom Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston, yes. He was another one.
He was on the list.
He was so another one.
It's funny because I have to think... I always prepare the cover, because when you repost an Instagram live, you have to do it right like the second you go off of live, or it'll be gone forever if you're not careful. So I have to think of a title before we end. I'm ashamed to... Tell everyone says, I'm ashamed to say that I've never read any Harry Potter books or seen Harry Potter movies. That's okay. I saw them late. I've never read a book, but I've discovered them... Well, I never really got into them until like a few years ago. So
also, so I don't remember Childfree Woman if you said that you were a Childfree Christian.
She is
I know there's a lot of people of faith in general. I won't limit it to just Christians. A lot of people of faith in general that did not watch those, and I can't say I agree or disagree because I'm not a person of those faiths, but totally understandable. Like, there's no shame in saying that. If you didn't watch it, you didn't watch it. If it was for other reasons, like you simply didn't like it or you didn't get into it, that's totally okay too. I actually am very similar ages to the characters, and I did not like the first movie when it came out. I was very confused. I had never heard of the books before. I had never heard of Harry Potter before when I went and saw the first movie. So it was very confusing for me. I was so lost. And then as I got older and I kind of felt like I related to the characters more, I really got more into it. And then I read the books after I watched all the movies. For me, that was a huge advantage, because while I was watching the books, oh my gosh, while I was reading the books.
You can do that? You can in Harry Potter. Even the newspapers move. So really, you're not wrong.
I told my boyfriend I wanted a picture frame like that. Like, you know, the digital ones where you can upload pictures, but I just want it to be like a 1 second little video clip. Anyway, when I was reading the books, I had the images from the movies in my mind. So it created everything so much more clear for me. I already had a visual of what everything was going to look like. So my brain didn't have to work overtime to try and create those images. They were already there. So that helped tremendously. Oh, okay. It has nothing to do with my religion. I just never got the time to watch it. If you decide to, movies first, books after. And I will say again, because the progression of the ages goes, you know, so far for the characters, like that first movie might be a little bit hard to get through because they're young, they're kids.
Yeah.
It does develop into really good concepts and really good acting later. That's my cat's tail. I'm sorry.
I think we have like a 3-minute warning. That's a 3-minute warning.
Right? That's our little red light. But yeah, so if you decide to, just keep those things in mind. It might make watching and reading a little bit easier. There's also audiobooks too. So if you're like, I don't have the time to actually sit and read, buy the audiobooks and listen to them while you're cleaning or driving or doing whatever you're going to do.
I need to get into audiobooks again because I loved reading, but I love movies and TV more nowadays. So I think audiobooks would be great. Okay, we kind of have, well, we do have to start wrapping up because I don't ever want to like get cut off for some random reason. Thank you, everybody. And again, if you can, we'll be posting this replay if I do everything correctly. It will be, so if you're watching the replay, thanks. You can always leave your comments below if there's anything that we've talked about that you want to comment on, or you can always DM me or Breanna. I'll have her Instagram linked as well to the replay in the comments. So you can always send us your thoughts. We're doing these every week. There's no specific time or date because we want the flexibility. We need the flexibility. Here it says the audiobooks are amazing, read by Jim Dale, and it's better than the movies. I believe that because then you'd also got like the full story instead of just like part of it. Thank you to Breanna's Pets for co-hosting as always.
I'm so sorry.
You know what? Okay, so as a Canadian who says sorry automatically for no reason, you don't have to apologize because that's just gonna be part of the show.
Yeah, they're in it now.
As long as they don't come through the phone into my house, we are okay. That I will draw the line at.
This isn't the Ring. Nothing's going to travel through your TV.
Goodness. Unless it's Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy has full medical permission to come through. Or whoever is next week.
Oh,
I guess we have to figure out who's next week.
We do have to figure out who's next week. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in and hanging out with us. All of your great questions, all of your great comments. It really helps contribute to us having these conversations. You know, you can always find us on Clubhouse, but we really wanted to do the Instagram series to be able to connect with people that maybe Clubhouse isn't their thing, or maybe they're taking a break from it, or maybe they just really love Instagram. So we really appreciate everybody that shows up and hangs out with us every week. As always, if you have any questions, DM us. We can talk about it on the next show.
Yes. So this is Breanna the Diminished signing off.
And LeNora the Selfish.
People were like, what is that all about? We'll explain next time.
Thank the Pope. All right.
Exactly. All right. Good night, everybody. We'll chat soon.
Bye.
Bye.